Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Less Stress, More Peace and Happiness Summit. We're super excited that you're joining us for this great summit. We've learned so many great techniques and tips for dealing with stress and creating a peaceful state of mind. Today is no different. You're going to love what you learned today. My name's Janine Wooten. I'm the host of the summit. And today I'm going to introduce you to Elizabeth Kipp. Elizabeth Kipp is a stress management and historical trauma specialist who uses trauma-trained and yoga-informed addiction recovery coaching, ancestral clearing, and compassionate inquiry, along with yoga, to help people with their healing. Elizabeth healed from over 40 years of chronic pain, including anxiety, panic attacks, and addiction. She now works to help others achieve the same healing for themselves that she experienced directly from the work she teaches. She's the best-selling author of The Way Through Chronic Pain, Tools to Reclaim Your Healing Power. And anyone who has or has had chronic pain knows that there's a direct correlation with stress. So lean in and learn, and please welcome with me, Elizabeth Kipp. Good morning, Elizabeth. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, Janine. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much for participating in the summit. I love your topic, because I know there's so many people dealing with chronic pain. And when pain is chronic, it feels like a hopeless situation to people and they don't feel there's a way out. So I love that you're going to share your story and teach us some great tips and tricks. I'm going to drop your title on and we're going to get going. So if you don't mind, I love starting with your personal story, because I think people love knowing where you've been and how you've been able to go from there to where you are now. It just gives great backdrop for what you're going to teach us.
Thank you. Great. Yeah, I really started in life pretty stressed. I was born with a closed pyloric valve, and which is the valve that opens to allow contents to go in your stomach. Wow. So I wasn't able to take in sustenance normally. And my mother also went into a deep depression right after she delivered me. So there was a lot of separation. That creates a lot of stress on the baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
They put me on a 45-degree angle for 2 weeks. They raised my mattress, and gravity opened us. I mean, they didn't have NICUs and surgery and stuff for that back in those days. So I really felt like my pediatrician was divinely inspired. And anyway, so that created a problem. My mother, again, she had, after she got over the depression, postpartum depression, she had bipolar disorder, which we didn't know at the time. We knew much later. But that created a situation for my brother and I where we never knew when we were going to get in trouble. So we were constantly hypervigilant, which is a hallmark of chronic pain, this hypervigilance. And then when I was 14, I had an accident and injured my back, which I was so used to pain at that point, I was able to get up and walk away and just thought, well, it hurt, but I didn't realize I'd broken a bone.
Wow.
But 14 years later, my spine became unstable and I needed surgery, and it took 4 tries of surgery to get that sorted out. And in the meantime, the doctors, I was in just a huge amounts of pain. And the doctor's answer was opiates and anti-anxiety medicine. They didn't have another answer for the pain, and at that time, and they told me that I'd have to take those medications for the rest of my life.
Goodness.
And then I wouldn't get better. Now I have a science background, so I understood something about. I understood that they were the experts, but I also understood, I have the science background, as I said, and I was trained to learn how to do research. So I kind of got trained in critical thinking, and I really came to the conclusion that they were telling me more about their model that they were working in, the limitations of the model they were working in, saying that I couldn't heal, more than they were telling me really about the body's ability to heal.
I love that.
So I kind of realized I was going to need to go somewhere else. And here's the thing, like, we live in the all that is. Science lives in a framework which it can, where it can only comment on things that it can measure, observe, and describe. And so that's not all that is. That's only
Right,
the part that
right.
they can.
Excellent point. I've never heard that said just like that, but that's an excellent point. Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay. And so I knew healing happens in the all it is, not only in the part that science can observe, measure, and describe. So I knew I was going to have to look outside the model, and I did. And anyway, so it took me a while. It took me 30. I was on those medications for 32 years.
Wow.
And finally, I found a doctor, Dr. Peter Prescott, who wrote a book, Conquer Chronic Pain: An Innovative Mind-Body Approach, who since passed away, but he left us this beautiful book. And he really understood the nature of chronic pain, which is that chronic pain, we'll define it, the what? Chronic pain is any pain that lasts 15 days or more, that you feel 15 days or more out of 30 for 3 months or more. Any pain, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, any pain.
Okay.
The body can't tell, the brain can't tell the difference between a broken bone and a broken heart.
Wow.
So I went into this pain management program, and he taught tools that helped heal the changes that occur in the brain because of chronic pain. Opiates and benzodiazepine, anti-anxiety medicine, do not heal those changes.
They just block the pain, correct?
Well, they'll numb your experience to an extent. It never numbed it completely for me. I was always stressed, but it causes a lot of other things, a lot of other side effects that are not optimal for healing. Opiates, those medications are great for the short term if you really need them, but they're not. There aren't any studies that show that they're effective in the long term. It's just they don't know anything else. Doctors don't know anything else to do. If that's the model they were trained under. They're more integrative doctors nowadays, but in the days that I was dealing with it, they just didn't have an understanding.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I went into that pain program with 40 years of chronic pain, and I walked out 52 days later with no pain.
Oh my goodness.
I know, exactly. And he never promised that. He never promised that. He said, I can help you reset your stress response. And because I was having panic attacks like crazy, and I didn't understand the nature of chronic pain, I said, I'm coming. And he knew how to
that part, right?
Yes. And he knew how to detox people off that medication, which my own prescribing doctor at the time didn't. He really didn't have an answer for me other than putting me in a coma. And he'd like never done that with a patient. So I was like,
break your heart.
So, but here's the thing. It's not like I'm so special. Dr. Prescott had a 94% success rate in his program.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. So it's a huge message to people who have been suffering with chronic pain and they've lost hope, that there's actually hope out there, that there's a way that you can heal the changes that occur in chronic pain. The brain is this really highly adaptive organ that it's changing all the time. We in science, in the neuroscience world, they call it neuroplasticity. So it's this beautifully changeable, very complex organ.
Yeah.
And in chronic pain, it gets shifted out of acute pain being the short term and chronic pain being longer term. The brain gets shifted in a way that we get a brain fog and we can't remember things. And also the emotional center in the brain gets affected, and we become really markedly, exaggeratingly negative. It's all their fault. It's all my fault. A lot of negativity, which is hallmark of chronic pain. I can kind of tell when I sit in front of someone if they have a brain on chronic pain. It's pretty evident. Yeah.
There's another book title for you, The Brain on Chronic Pain.
Exactly. So So that's kind of the nutshell of my story.
I
And
love that. I love that it gives hope, like you said, because yeah, that's actually one of the purposes for doing this summit is to give people hope. Um, and it's another interesting, so many things, but I didn't want to interrupt. That chronic pain could be more than physical. I always only thought of it really as physical pain. So chronic emotional or spiritual, that was really interesting too.
so
Um,
a grief experience is a chronic pain
uh,
experience.
yeah, exactly.
And there are, we can sit here and think of many others that fall
Mhm.
into physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, even financial pain, if it's long term, can cause the same phenomenon in the brain.
Hmm. So so it's almost like just the brain doing its thing because it feels you're not safe, regardless of the category that you're in.
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
right. Exactly. Yep.
that's really interesting. The other thing that I think is important for people to take away is you have to advocate for yourself, and what one doctor says is coming from his training, and so
Mhm.
we I don't know if I told you this when we met earlier, but my youngest son, when he was an infant, we had some health challenges that were really frightening, and I went to a couple of different doctors and really couldn't get anywhere. And he's 34 now and healthy, thank God. But it was that was the situation that pushed me toward natural wellness and to seeking an alternative. And so there's always, like you were driven to find the answer and just keep looking and keep asking and knowing there's something more than that limited view that you're being presented. So I want people to definitely take note of that and just know that there's hope and advocate for yourself and don't give up. Right.
Yes, and there's a much a bigger understanding of the brain and how it works these days.
Exactly.
Neuroscience is a huge field. I mean,
Mhm.
there are actual like departments of neuroscience now, where it was just a subspecialty within a department back when I was in
Mhm.
college. So
Mhm.
it's a big field. We understand a lot more about it, and so we can bring in tools. Really, chronic pain. Because remember I talked about the hypervigilance, that like I'm
Yes,
always looking for the next hit or threat or whatever. That's
exactly.
indicative of a stress response that's gone out of balance,
Mm.
and
Mhm.
it gets stuck in chronic pain. It gets stuck in the on position. So it's supposed to be, the stress response is supposed to be this variable thing that when we need it, it's there, and then whoop, it goes back to normal quiet. Well, in chronic pain, it doesn't get like that. And
Mhm.
because the nervous system is constantly in this on position one, you burn a lot of calories. Like
Mhm.
chronic pain patient can burn 6,500 calories in a day, which is
Wow.
just a lot, right? From
Exactly.
being
So
like
you're
this.
depleted as
Oh,
well.
you're depleting on so many levels. Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
we could sit down and talk for a half an hour on that. But yeah, you're absolutely
Mhm.
depleted, and it's not just the physical and
Mhm.
mental exhaustion, it's the spiritual. Where is the hope? Because you've referred to that before, because you don't get a break.
Exactly.
Right, so the work that I do when I work with someone who's experiencing chronic pain, um, and I work in a kind of a bunch of different areas where that shows up, uh,
Mhm.
like the trail space, the addiction recovery space, those
Mhm.
kinds of places. um, People, their nervous systems are just stuck in this on activated position, and the work I do is within the first 10 minutes, maybe less, of
Mhm.
a session. I get them given experience, and when I can share some of that with the viewers here,
That'd be lovely.
I give them an experience where their nervous system calms down pretty quickly,
Mm.
and and they realize mentally, because they're feeling it, that, oh, my body actually remembers how to do this, and
Right.
it doesn't have to be, there's hope,
There's
right?
a
So that
different way to be. Like, right. I've been in chronic stress for years, for
Mm.
years. And I know in the recent past. And so doing the work that I'm doing now is about this kind of the same thing, bringing hope and showing that there's a different way. But I can attest to the fact that when you're in that place, um, you are stuck. You do feel stuck. You feel stuck.
Mhm.
And sometimes also you don't. That's the point where you need help from someone, a professional, but you don't feel like reaching out, right? You feel withdrawn and maybe a
Yeah, that would
depression
be
goes
more.
along with it. But it's really fascinating that you said you can, in a short amount of time, you can get that stress level just to undo just a little bit and help people remember that there is a different way of feeling and of being. That's amazing that it can happen that quickly. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there is a hierarchy of healing. We
Mm,
want to start this, the nervous system, we want to get it regulated and feeling safe. And then
mm,
we want to go to connection, which you talked about, the isolation part. And
uh,
then we can start learning. But if we don't have regulation, we're not going to feel connected, because you can't protect and connect at the same time. If you don't
uh,
feel safe, you're protecting. So you have to have the safety in the body, and then you connect with people. And you can't learn until you have this feeling of safety and feeling of connection and belonging, and then you can learn.
that's
So
so interesting.
yeah, it's, well, this, I learned that this in the trauma space, that this is trauma kind of work. I'm not a trauma therapist, but I'm a great coach in the space, as I'm trauma trained, and my yoga, my whole practice is trauma informed, and it's
Mm.
based on this fundamental understanding.
Wow, that's amazing. So this is really interesting, and it makes total sense what you said. And it's like you feel like people should know that, but I didn't. I've never heard it put that way, and it makes total sense. But I love that you're sharing this information with us. Could you give us a so you've kind of told us what happens. Is there a way to say how it happens? Like what's going on in the brain when you're kind of taking that stress down a few notches, or are you inquiring? I read about compassionate inquiry. How are you tapping in and knowing how to help somebody? If you don't mind, like just explaining a little bit of what this work is that you do and how that helps reduce stress.
So in compassionate inquiry, and the approach that I use with a new client, is to give them a sense of
Mm-hmm.
safety when they're with me, whether it's in person or online, so that they can feel safe in their own skin and safe
Mm-hmm.
and connect with me. And then we can have a conversation about
Mm-hmm.
what's going on with them. And we can begin to help the nervous system calm down to the point where they can actually hear the teachings that
Um,
I'm, right. So we nervous system first, connection with
uh-huh.
the other, and then feeling safe, and then we learn, right.
So
So
that so that all happens relatively quickly then, like in the initial session, it sounds like.
oh yeah, yeah. So that's the first thing. And really, um, I feel like the most important thing in the beginning, I say hello, and I kind of I listen to them for a few minutes. First of all, they get heard.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
so important. Second of all, I get a chance to really assess their nervous system and hear what kind of language is happening. So it's very informative for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and also, when we're talking to one another, we might be, talking from the mind, but our bodies,
Uh,
even online, from when we're in this kind of a space, our bodies are talking to one another and assessing whether we're safe or not.
oh wow.
And there's a whole kind of approach to as a practitioner of creating safety.
Hmm.
There are certain things that I do as a practitioner that help encourage that sense of
Yeah.
safety.
That's beautiful. And I'm sure that just expedites the healing process then. I never thought about that either when someone feels safe with you.
Mhm.
So you've got a couple just basic things going on there. One, you're giving them hope, and then they feel safe with you, and you can open them up, get them to relax so they can hear the teaching.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's beautiful. I love what you do. Can you give us an example of a client success story? I like to kind of throw that into.
Sure. Yeah. So I had a client. So I'm a part of what I do is, I don't think I put it in my bio for you, but part of what I do is I work in the betrayal space on the platform of Dr. Debbie Silber, who's kind of the Brene Brown's the queen of vulnerability. Dr. Debbie Silber is the queen of betrayal. She helps people heal from that space, which is obviously chronic pain. And I'm a coach in that space. And I work with clients there. One client I came to who was she was so activated and just had lost all hope, for her own life, just because of what had happened to her, and her self-esteem, had just dropped. And so I worked with her nervous system. Like I said, we got her to breathe and to help her just kind of calm down a little bit. And the mind follows the nervous system. So if you've got a mind that's like this, and you get the nervous system to just start to ease, the mind will follow.
Beautiful.
See, this is a very sweet thing.
Yes, absolutely. Which is probably
such like.
I'm sorry.
No.
We're having a little connection issues, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just going to ask if that's probably one reason that practicing yoga or practicing meditation really help. Oh, there goes the dog alarm. The trainers are here, so they'll take her outside. She should be quiet now. She's seen them. So let's see if we can. I'm going to have lots of editing to do, aren't I?
Well, this is perfect. This is perfect for a stress, for a de-stressing kind of space, because
exactly.
You know what's happening here is that you're showing other people how you manage to stay calm in a fairly stressful environment. So it's a beautiful teaching space.
So you think maybe I should leave a little bit of it in then as an
dog
example?
part. Yeah, the dog part. Yeah.
Okay.
I would leave that in. That's just life.
The dog alarm.
It's up to you. Yeah.
So then I wonder if what you're saying makes me think that that's why yoga and meditation are so helpful, because it gets the body into a more relaxed state where you can then, work on the mind. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. And the other thing about yoga and meditation and healing in this space is we've actually developed a habit. Chronic pain is a habit. It's the nervous system. Oh, this is the way we do. Remember, the brain is this active. It deals with its environment the best way that it can. And when you're in chronic pain, this is the way we do life. Your nervous systems, this is the way we do life. And when you start bringing a tool in that starts to bring the nervous system down and sends different messages to the brain, and then you bring in you have to do as you rewire as a practice. So every day you do a practice, you do some meditation, do a little bit of qigong or yoga, some kind of a practice that helps you regulate the nervous system and rewire it back to a new way to live. So you're in this other place, I'm like that, and now we're like, right? And it takes practice.
Yeah. It does. And then do you suggest increasing the amount of time, or just start, do what you can from where you are, and then, it'll get easier over time and you can stay in that more calm space a little more as you go? Is that kind of how it works, you think?
Yeah. Remember, what we're doing here is we're teaching the nervous system a new way to live. And we're actually creating more resilience in the nervous system. So when we get activated in the future, because we're doing this calming work on a regular basis and we're rewiring the nervous system to be calmer, we might get activated and we get calm faster.
Right. So you have a new baseline.
We have a new baseline, and when we do get activated, we don't go up. So our amplitude, the intensity of the activation isn't so high, it's lower, and we get back to normal faster.
Yeah, that makes sense too. I love that. So you've given us lots of great stuff. I wonder if you could give listeners some action steps, some simple actions that they might take at home that would be a good practice for just taking that stress level down a little bit when they are in chronic pain.
So the one thing for anxiety, which is, part of chronic pain, that's pretty quick, is just cover your right nostril and breathe in the left long, slow, and deep. Just long, slow, and deep, 3 minutes. When you breathe in just the left side, you're activating the calming center in the brain.
Oh, wow.
It takes about 3 minutes for the nervous system to get the message, oh, I'm safe after all.
Wow.
So it takes a little bit for the biochemistry to catch up, right?
Yeah.
But 3 minutes isn't very long.
So do you hold that and practice it for 3 minutes, or the effect happens 3 minutes later? Okay.
I just hold and breathe long and deep for 3 minutes.
Okay. Beautiful.
Just breathe long and deep for 3 minutes. Now that's one. And the other one that I'd like to share is a practice called alternate nostril breathing. It's a little more involved, but it's still pretty simple. It balances both hemispheres of the brain, which in chronic pain we get out of balance. And it also balances the emotions, which also in chronic pain get out of balance. So alternate nostril breathing is kind of standard for anybody. It's great for everybody, but it's standard for anybody healing from chronic pain. And the way we do it is we inhale on one side. I'm starting on the left, long, slow, and deep. And then cover the other side and exhale on the other side. So I'm exhaling on the right. And inhale on the right. And just before the exhale, switch sides and exhale on the other side, which is on the left this time. Inhale left. Switch just before the exhale on the right.
Nice.
We'll do it one more time. Inhale on the right. And switch just before the exhale on the left.
Yeah, so these are great, easy things that people can do at home that will make a difference.
That's the pattern.
I love it.
And 3 minutes of that, 11 would be even better.
Okay.
If you did 11 minutes of that for 40 days each day, that would be a game changer.
Oh, wow.
And if you didn't want to even do that part, if you could just do long, deep breathing for 11 minutes, that would be a game changer. But this is a great balancer. And because we're in the chronic pain, in the stressed out space, chronic stress, chronic pain, it's kind of all the same in the brain. This alternate nostril breathing is pretty much standard. 3 to 11 minutes every day as a practice. You'll feel the difference. I can tell you, but take the action step and try it. Try 3 minutes of it and see what happens. Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely. I'll do it. So I wonder, does that work on the financial stress as well?
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it?
Financial stress is felt in the body. And,
that's amazing.
We could have a whole conversation about that. It's felt in the body and we're like this. Well, if we can get ourselves calmed down, maybe the mind can open enough now that we can find another answer that we didn't see before because we were so stressed out.
Exactly. So like you said, it doesn't matter to the brain. Stress is stress, regardless of the source.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I wanted to ask you just quickly, I feel like it's very common, but I had the question about how common is chronic pain. It seems like I know a lot of people, now that I understand there's different categories, not just physical, it seems like I know a lot of people who are in chronic pain and chronic stress.
Oh, yes. The National Health Institutes prior to COVID, so who knows what the numbers are now?
Yeah.
Prior to COVID, estimated a quarter of all the population in North America was in chronic pain across all socioeconomic measures, including children. So that's kind of astonishing. The World Health Organization estimates a fifth of the world is in chronic pain. So it's this silent epidemic, which I feel is kind of indicative of our current obviously the current state of affairs on the planet and in
Yeah.
the human world.
Right.
We're really reflecting, the level of stress that we're under.
Yeah. No, that's really tragic, isn't it? And I
Well,
love
tells us where our work is for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that you're doing work around that space and that you've taken what you've been through and you're, creating something amazing and helping so many people. I really, really honor that. I've met so many great people hosting this summit, and I'm happy that you're one of them.
Oh my goodness! And thank you. And I'm so happy that you're hosting this summit because the listeners are going to really benefit from all the knowledge here.
I think so. And it's been really interesting to me because I didn't expect, we've had so many various topics all under the umbrella of stress and, how to reduce stress, various topics, but it's interesting to me how many times the nervous system is at the base of it, regardless of the topic. So I didn't expect that. And that's been really interesting. So that's been a great learning experience for me as well. So I was wondering, I always hate when the time comes to an end. I feel like you said, there's so much we could talk all day and help people all day, but I know people might want to continue on with you. I want you to explain the gift that you have for our listeners.
Thank you so much. So I have it's called 5 Ways to Relieve Stress and Anxiety and Fear. It's actually 7 because there's 2 bonuses at the end of it.
Nice.
It's a daily email kit. It's a kind of a daily kit to help you calm the mind, calm the body, and live a more peaceful, fulfilled life. And we start with how to ground yourself when you feel dysregulated or activated, like I talked about. There's a simple breath practice in there for you. There's also a way to help you quickly move out of fight, flight, freeze, or shutdown into a calmer state. There's that part. There's also how gratitude can really, moving into a gratitude practice can really help shift your mindset. It also shifts the nervous system. It's very interesting how gratitude, there's actual science around gratitude and what happens in the brain on that.
Wow.
Also, there's a tool around anybody that has stress or anxiety around their body image. That's very common certainly for women. So I have a tool in there for that. Wonderful. Also, there's another one in there for how to re-script your inner critic to a kind, wise voice out of this heavy critical voice. And also there's a practice to help you clear unresolved effects of intergenerational trauma. So wow. That's what's in my gift.
That's very, very generous. I love it. And I'm definitely going to take advantage of that myself. There's so much good stuff in there. So I just want to thank you so much. By the way, we'll put a link under the video for people to access that gift. And also I'm going to put a link to your book so people can purchase the book if they want to, because I know that will give a lot of people hope. So I'm going to bring you on and just thank you so much. I really enjoyed our talk. I'm sorry we had a few little tech glitches, but that's always the way it goes when you're live. So thank you so much, Elizabeth. And like I said, I honor your work greatly. And I'm just so impressed that you were able to overcome 40 years of chronic pain and basically trauma from the time you were little. So
yeah, thank you. I had a lot of help. A lot of help. Yeah, there was a lot of help. But you
went after it. You went after it. You advocated for yourself. You sought the help. You did the work, and on top of that, now you're helping others. So God bless you.
Well, thank you so much. This is such a pleasure. Take care. It has
been great. You have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.